Hey everyone, welcome back to J Nix. This is my first video in a while, and I've got to tell you guys, I've been very busy. I've been bumping up my collection game, my flipping game, my grading game, everything the last few months. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a wild ride. I've seen a lot of really cool things. I actually worked my first card show, which was a big time success. So I was at the Conroe Sports and Collectibles show here in Conroe, Texas, and that was that was earlier this month, or earlier last month. So that was beginning of June. There's another one coming up, I believe, in a couple of weekends here in July. I will miss that show, but it was a lot of fun. Met a lot of really neat people in the industry. Really nice collectors out there. A lot of hard bargainers. A lot of guys that know their stuff. So anyway, it was a lot of fun getting out, talking to everyone. This video today is gonna be the newest PSA submission, or I guess it would be the reveal. So what I wanted to go over with this one was, I guess, the type of submission that I made. And so I did want to go over this. I have not opened this. This is my first time opening the box. However, I've seen the grades online. I will say, not thrilled with the grades, but this was a learning experience. This was my first time to submit Kobe Bryant's, Michael Jordan's, like a bunch of different cards that I think would be, you know, they're highly valuable if you can get them in a PSA 10. However, I think that they are very hard to grade. They're very difficult to grade and very difficult to get the high grades. So I will explain on some of these grades as they come through, or as I'm showing you, I'll explain kind of my thought process behind why it was submitted, and then also, you know, maybe why I think it's a low grade. Okay, so this first little batch, and this is a mixture. This is gonna be football, baseball, and basketball. All right. So the first thing we have is a 96 Topps Finest Refractor Livan Hernandez. And so, I mean, if you look at the centering on this, centering on the back is nice. This is the rare version of this refractor. So this is one of the higher, you know, Livan Hernandez cards. And so this was, you know, right before he won the World Series with the Marlins. It looks like there's possible surface issues, which would knock it down to an 8 immediately. So it may have been something, it could have been something that I did or that I missed when checking the cards. But this is a really cool Livan Hernandez. This is probably one of the better rookie cards of his. Next one, 98 Bowman David Ortiz, also received an 8. I thought this one looked good, and these are difficult because of the black here at the bottom. So normally you can see whiting on the edges and on the corners. However, this one looked pretty clean. The back centering looks like it's just a touch off, but I didn't think it was gonna be an 8. I really thought like this one had a chance for a gem, but possibly 9 at the worst. Surface actually looked pretty decent whenever I was looking at it ahead of time. This is probably one of the more disappointing ones. This is a Vince Carter gold medallion. This is 2000 Ultra gold medallion. So this was, I believe, the year he wins the slam dunk contest. So it's an awesome picture, awesome card of Vince Carter's. This one received an 8. And honestly, if you're looking, like normally you can tell there's a little wear. It actually might be a little wear on that corner. And I can tell you right now, I can tell you ahead of time, like if I had seen that corner, there's 0 chance that this would have been submitted. So I know that the guys are human that handle the cards, that do the grading, but I can tell you right now, I would never have submitted that card with that corner. And you can see how soft it is. I had multiples of this card. I have like 4 or 5. I never would have submitted this one. So, and I'm convinced that I caught either a grader on a bad day or just a very bad week, or I caught a very bad grader. This is the same year, 2000 Ultra, Tracy McGrady gold medallion. This one received a 9. And so now I'm gonna hold these up side by side. I've got 110 and 19. And I feel like they maybe just threw me a bone and gave me a 10 on one of them, because I did submit 3 and the second one was a 9. So it got off to a pretty shaky start. And as you can see, like, I sent a wide range of cards in, which may not be the best approach. It might be better to send in cards from the same era. I don't know. I mean, I'm still fairly new at this. However, this is probably like my 8th or 9th submission, and easily my worst submission when it comes to my gem rate. Okay, so this one received a 7, so there has to be something on the surface here that I missed. Although I reviewed every surface, I wiped down every card, I did everything you could imagine. And for this card to get a 7, like, I don't see a ding corner, I don't see any edge issues. It had to have been something on the surface. But like I said, I use a microfiber cloth, gently going over a lot of the cards. I remove all fingerprints. I do everything that you can imagine, you know, without damaging the card. So this is a 2002 second year Albert Pujols gold medallion. This one did receive a 10. I'm gonna set this to the side because I did grade a Kobe Bryant same year Ultra Gold medallion, and it did not receive a 10. Okay, so Larry Bird, 1980 Topps card here. This is probably the cleanest 1980 set that I think I've ever seen, as far as it not coming straight from a pack. This is straight out of a top loader. I don't know how long it was in a top loader. It was in a collection that I purchased. But I mean, the centering is slightly off on the back. Centering is slightly off on the front, but the surface of the card looks awesome. Corners look awesome, edges look awesome. So this was the highest grade that I got from submitting a 1980 Topps basketball card. I received an 8 for this. So it's gotta be pack fresh. You gotta spend a lot of money to buy those packs. And that's the only way I think you even come close to getting a 10 out of 1980 Topps product. Because like I said, I bought the whole set. The whole set is near mint plus, near mint to mint plus. And this was the best grade I got out of 3 cards. So the second card here is a Magic Johnson, John Long, Johnson, Ron Boone, and this received a 7. And the centering is actually a little bit better on this one. And edges and corners are nice on this too. So Skybox in motion, I had a handful of these cards. I sent in the best one, the very best one that I had. Best edges, best corners, best surface on both sides, front and back. No print lines, nothing. And this receives a 9. So to me, it's either an issue where if it's a Jordan card, they're grading it a certain way. If it's a Kobe card, they're grading it a certain way. But you'll see in these next few Jordan cards. And just keep in mind, I had multiples of each card. I submitted the best one of every one of these Jordan cards. And not to mention, I have a grading tool that I use where I can check centering. You know, and my gem rate so far has been around like 70%. Now, I can understand, like, you know, sending in a lot of newer products that you're probably going to get a higher gem rate with a lot of the new stuff straight out of the pack. It's pack fresh. But I was very selective on these. So now this one received a near mint 8, okay? Now, I want you to keep in mind this right here. I literally peeled off the protective coating. So there couldn't have been a single surface issue with this card unless it was on the back. And even on the back, I did everything I could to make sure that this did not have a surface issue. Still received an 8. Corners, everything, awesome. I had a dozen of these cards. 1995 Stadium Club. Near mint 8. If this is Clyde Drexler, that's a 9 or a 10. Now we get to Ronald Acuna, mint 9. Same thing with this one. I had this one set aside for a while to grade. Decided to throw it in with this. All right, so here we go. Here's one. So this is a 2001, 2002 Ultra Basketball Gold Medallion. And the baseball side by side. That little speck there is on the slab, actually. There's 0 surface issues, none on the Jordan side. You can probably see it through there. Like, there are none. All right. So now, in order to get an 8 per PSA, if there are no surface issues, now we're looking at major centering, off-centered, corner, and edge issues. I'm just gonna show you these corners real quick. That corner looks pretty good. This corner looks pretty good. And now keep in mind, this is the first time I've seen it since it's been sent back. That corner's okay. I mean, let's just say that's one soft corner. And that corner's okay. Backside. We should see edge issues on this red part. That's kind of the telltale sign on these gold medallion cards, is there you can see the white on the red. One little spot here, okay? Right under the Fleer, right under the R of the Fleer logo. And even then, I don't even know. It almost looks like it's part of the slab. And this is that, there's like one little soft corner. Either way, this card at worst and anyone else is a 9. Anyone else, you get a 9 with this. Get an 8 with Jordan. I was actually surprised to see this one come back a 9 after I started seeing the grades. So this is 97 Fleer Crystal. So this is kind of the step up from the regular Fleer. It's right underneath the, I think it's Platinum. Yeah, it's like Fleer Platinum, I believe, is the higher one out of this one. Thought this was a really cool Kobe card. Ended up with a 9, and this was also one where, I mean, I just didn't see, I didn't see an issue with it. And my motto whenever I do submissions is I don't submit anything that I think can't get a 10. Now, I don't have enough knowledge in the 80s cards department. Like, I don't have enough knowledge of these to know, like, whenever I'm looking at it, what's the difference between a 9 and a 10 or an 8 and a 10, you know? So the only thing I can go off of is what, like, my experience has been with the newer cards. And that is the centering, you know, it's the 4 things: the centering, the corners, the edges, the surface, right? So whenever I see these 80s cards and I'm looking at them going, okay, for 1980, that is like a really, really nice card. And to know that maybe 8 is the ceiling, that's a little depressing. But who knows? Like I said, I may have just caught a really, really bad grader, may have caught someone on a really bad day. And this one really kind of threw me for a loop. All right, so this is a die cut, all right? So, you know, there's 37 corners on this card, right? So I get a 9, and we have to grade all these corners and the surface, right? I get a 9 on this Chipper Jones, almost like they just kind of gave me this free one. They just said, you know what? We got him on every other card. Let's give him a Chipper Jones 9. Because this one was really disappointing as well. This card I purchased because it was so clean. I actually bought this card because it was so clean that I knew it had a chance to gem. The centering is almost perfect. Almost. It might be off 5% or less, right? And even on the back, it's just slightly off, maybe off just a little. But that surface is perfect. The corners are perfect and the edges are perfect. And this card comes back a 9. I mean, I'm actually blown away. Like, this one was almost like a litmus test of sorts. And now, like, I know for a fact, you know. And here they are throwing me another bone with like the lower end card that would get a 10. So any of these other cards in a 10 is gonna sell for way more than this one. So I feel like now that I've gone through, you know, 20 or so cards, or almost 20 cards, it's like, okay, we have definitely been pop controlled in a lot of ways on the big name cards that we submitted. And you know, the really bad thing is, like, the way the market works is, okay, let's say I want to try again. Say I want to go out and buy some raw, you know, raw Kobe Crystal or the Jordan Flare or any of these 80s cards. I can barely sell these cards for what, like, I'd have to pay to get them raw again. Okay, barely. I mean, I might make a little bit, and I've done the math on all of this. This submission came back about as bad as it could come back, knowing what the potential was. The potential was there for this submission to be worth over $10,000 or $12,000 if one of these big cards had popped at a 10. So I knew what the reward was. However, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would get 8s on half of the submission. I think I did the average grade. My average grade is an 8.7. So I do have another submission that's out there. It's currently in the grading process, and it is almost all Jordans and all Kobe's, all gold medallions. It's all inserts. And I'm really nervous about it now because I did the same thing. I only sent in the best, or I sent in multiples. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 of the same Kobe, you know, gold medallion. So anyway, you can probably tell the disappointment in my voice. It really kind of rubbed me the wrong way when this submission, these grades were revealed, because I never believed that would happen. All right, this is the last of the 1980 tops. So centering is off, knew that going in, did not think that this had a good chance for a 10 with the centering being off and as hard as they grade these, but I did not think it was a 7. Corners are perfect, edges are perfect, and surface is nice. Surface is nice on both. It's just a centering issue. So it could be that if the centering is off, even the slightest on the 1980 tops basketball, that's what they're gonna do. Good learning experience. This one, 0 surface issues again. Corners and edges are awesome. Topps finest cards back then were really, really nice card stock. No edge issues. There was nothing on this. Mint 9. So felt like pop control, it just kept being a recurring theme here with Kobe's and Jordans. This was the case hit from 2000 Ultra, the Thrillinium Kobe. Again, there was nothing wrong with this card. Nothing. I submitted this one with a Kevin Garnett and an Allen Iverson. Submitted all 3 of them. I haven't gotten the grades on the other 2. So, 8. Kobe Bryant, 2001 Ultra Gold Medallion. I can see a soft corner down here. A little whiting up here. Little, maybe possible edge issue there. Still, I don't see the 8 whenever everything else is just so good about it. Like, I mean, I can understand it. Like, there's a dimple on the card. anything, but those are the ones I weed out. I weed out everything that just has like an obvious issue. And I've gotten cards back where I thought they didn't have it, you know, I would lean more towards a 9 than a 10. They came back 10s. Peyton Manning, Bowman Chrome, preview rookie card here. PSA 9. Centering's actually okay on that. Might be a little high, but even still, like that one had a very nice surface. Did not work out. Same thing, PSA 9 on the Peyton. 9 on 98 Randy Moss. Submitted 4 of these, so I ended up with a 10. Another 9, another 9. So 3 9s and a 10 on the Randy Moss rookies. And the reason I sent all those in, I have 4 98 Bowman football sets. And so the 4 Peytons came back as 9, 10, 10, and 9. Yeah, I mean, I would love to sit there and compare those. But I've got other cool stuff to show you guys. The last 2 submissions here, or last 2 cards, Ken Griffey. This one was cool. I was hoping to get a 10. Thought this one looked really clean. I know this one's also a hard one to grade. It could be because there's a little bit of the F missing there on Griffey. Could be. Anyway, still ended up with a 9. I mean, that right there, that has more surface issues with missing the F in Griffey than any of the Kobe's or Jordans combined. Like, honestly, it's that annoying. Here we go. Griffey Pacific Crown. I figured this one would be tough to grade with it being just like a prism like this. They don't make these like they do the new like prism and refractors. So I thought that might be a tough grade to get. But I think the most disappointing ones were the 80s Topps, the Bryce Harper Walmart blue border, and then really the Jordans and Kobe's. I mean, just can't believe some of them, like the finest. The ones where I personally took the coating off. So the surface would have 0 issues on at least half the card. And anyway, didn't work out. So that is the most recent submission that I had. Ended up with 5 10s, I believe, and a handful of 9s, 8.7 average grade. Not the greatest. I think whenever I was looking at it, it was probably worth, like total combines probably about 2,000, where the upside on it was more like 12 to 14,000. Especially if any of the 80s Topps cards hit at 9s or 10s. So upside was definitely there. And that's really what I do whenever I submit. I submit cards with a lot of upside. I don't want to spend $1,000 on a raw card and go submit. You know, I would rather spend the $5, $10, $15, $20, $50, $100 even, and then submit those cards. But let me know what you think in the comments. I can definitely send better pictures, take better pictures. A lot of these cards will end up on eBay. I'm gonna need these to fund the next 2 submissions that I have. So, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait to show you those cards. And then I'm actually doing another video here in just a minute that I'm gonna post probably later in the week. And it's gonna be the cards that I'm sending off next. So I'm gonna have a vintage set of cards, some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I'm sending off with Pokemon first editions, and then also like more modern, but I've got a lot of baseball rookies that I'm sending off. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. All right, till then, thanks guys.